It is an open letter to the leaders of the Islamic world itself. This letter is actually the cry in the heart of all of us. An advice. We will read this inshallah. May these messages reach their ears and hearts, and may they implement these recommendations. This is how they take care of their Muslim brothers. O Muslims, state leaders, this letter will contain the truths you shout about the brutality suffered by our Muslim brothers in Gaza, Palestine, and will actually stop this brutality. They are the cries and screams of believing hearts that you must take clear, sharp, and courageous decisions that will break the back of the enemy. All around the world, Muslims and non-Muslims alike, with even a fragment of mercy in their hearts, tried to be the voice of Gaza against this brutality and cruelty. They continue to fulfill their humanitarian, conscientious, and Islamic duties. They boycott the products of Israel and the companies that support them and do not buy or sell them. Some of them are on the streets, some on social media, trying to convey the cries of women, children, and the elderly who are brutally massacred by the Israeli terrorist state, which has the most immoral army in the world and its supporters, to the other pole of the world, which is blind and deaf to humanity. That is all they can do. O leaders of Muslim states, you are also doing something about Palestine. However, like the people who do not have the means and power, you are only expressing and condemning this atrocity with words and various phrases. However, you have the means to put a stop to this atrocity. If these means will not be used at this time, when will they be used? Certain forces of the kuffar are coming together and attacking our brothers. You too are gathering certain forces. But if you cannot afford to defend them, then there are other ways to stop the enemy and prevent this atrocity. But it is as if you have agreed not to apply those methods together. O leaders of the Ummah, your language says that you have agreed not to agree to help our brothers and sisters and stop this atrocity. You also know that shouting in front of this fire will not extinguish it. You use the most impressive and toughest words in the dictionary against the enemy and make the strongest condemnations. This looks very good, but Jewish diplomats are still among you. Ships carrying arms and ammunition to the enemy are sailing right next to you in your territorial waters and international waters. Again, airplanes carrying weapons and ammunition use your airspace with your permission. As if all of this were not enough, the various companies that support them continue to provide ammunition for them with the money of the Muslim people. If war, which is a form of jihad, is not possible, other forms of jihad must be used. Allah Azza wa Jalla has given us examples from the life of Rasulullah Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam. If we follow that path, with the permission and grace of Allah Azza wa Jalla, we will succeed. In such a situation, if the duty of the Muslim people is to boycott, the duty of you, the leaders of the Islamic countries, is to impose an embargo. The Jews fortified all the cities where they hid as if building a fortress, protected from the air by an iron dome system. In a place where they are attacking with aircraft carriers on the seas, this reminds us of Khaybar. In Khaybar, if an arrow was shot, it would come back. If a stone was thrown, it did not reach. The fortress of Khaybar could not be destroyed and conquered, because it was high. There was no environment to fight against each other with a sword. They could not approach the Jews in any way. Rasulullah Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam and his companions besieged the fortress of Khaybar. They had waited for days. Now they were out of food, tired and demoralized. Because the Jews had stockpiled enough food in the fortress of Khaybar to last them for months. They would not come out of the castle for fear of their lives. In such a situation, Rasulullah Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam developed a new strategy This was to damage the enemy's economy in a situation where war was not possible. For this purpose, all the date palms belonging to the Jews were cut down. The economy of the Jews of Kaaba was thus eradicated. For the Jews, money and wealth meant everything. The more the trees were cut down, the less hope there was for them to resist. Finally, they had to make a deal and surrender Kaaba to the enemy. O leaders of the Muslim states! O people with even a particle of mercy in your hearts! If you are sincere about returning to their owners the lands occupied and confiscated by this cruel and ruthless society, then you have to lay siege to Kaaba again and disrupt their economy. Otherwise, the spoiled people who do not understand that word will continue their savagery. Words not spoken in due time mean they have not been spoken. An undone task at its time means it remains unfinished. A bullet fired at the enemy after they have destroyed everything is a bullet not fired. Accordingly, before the time is over, it is essential to intervene before time passes. O leaders of the banner of Islam! You are at the head of this caravan in this big case. Therefore, Muslims expect you to do something. It is well known that after the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam ordered his companions to sacrifice their animals and shave their heads. They had gone for Umrah that year. According to the agreement, they were to return without performing Umrah. The companions who were not satisfied with the text of the agreement ignored this order. No one moved from his place. Even though he repeated his order 3 times, they did not show any inclination to obey it. Thereupon, Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he entered the tent of our mother Salama radiallahu anha and told her about their indifference. Do you see them? I command them, and they do not obey. He told her about them. Our mother Salama radiallahu anha, who was wise, reminded Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, do you want them to fulfill your command? He said, yes. Then, get outside. You slaughter your sacrifices and shave your head, and they will follow you. Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he embraced this good idea and acted on this wise advice. He went out of the tent alone, slaughtered his sacrifices and shaved his head without saying a word to any of the companions. Seeing Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam acting in this way, the companions quickly got up, slaughtered their sacrifices and shaved their heads. Yes, leaders and guides at the head of the Islamic Ummah, that your Highness is expected. The first step is for you to sacrifice all your fears, all your worries, all your comfort, all your excuses, and take the first step. Then the people will come running after you. The next goal of these Zionists, other Islamic countries in its neighborhood. Accordingly, the leaders of all Islamic countries are responsible and must take measures. We have to give all kinds of support to those who are fighting against this terrorist state. Because if a fire starts in a forest we live in, and if this fire is not intervened in time, one day it will surely spread to us. If you are not going to take a step, every child slaughtered there, every woman, every elderly person, in short, the burden of every Muslim will be on your shoulders. Allahu Zul Jalal. May He grant everyone carrying this trust the ability to carry it with its due diligence. May He put compassion in their hearts, may He put courage in their hearts, may He give them the courage to act wisely and prudently, may they take the right step. May Allah Azza wa Jalla grant all the believers and the leaders of the believers to act in unity and solidarity and to always take steps in His way for His sake. May Allah grant them to always live and act in the interest of the Muslims.